So this is a week in the life of a church planting family. It's Sunday morning, and Sunday morning is different than it was before. We host home groups, which means where space is conducive in apartments. We have people meeting in apartments in different parts of the city. We host one in our place, so it's Sunday around 6 a.m. And so I just want to give you an idea of what it's like for us today and for the rest of the week. So here's my son having his breakfast. He wakes up around 6:10 every morning, and we normally give him a very nutritious breakfast, but for the first time in his life, he's having pancakes and syrup. That was sarcasm. All right, so this is my mom, Susan. She is going to prepare Indian food for our community today. Every week, we generally like to have a meal, and Mom, you want to show what it kind of looks like here? Yes, it's chicken curry, and I'm not sure if you're salivating already. I am, but thank you, Mom. All right, Mom, so how long have you been cooking Indian food, or as you grew up calling it, just food?
Maybe over 4 decades.
And who taught you how to make Indian food? Your mom. And why haven't you taught me how to make Indian food?
There's a lot of work, and we will go in it.
All right, home group is finished. Everyone left about an hour ago. We had a great meal together and a wonderful conversation, prayed for each other, all after experiencing the pre-recorded service together. And now it's time for me to do what I call an organizational audit of our church. So I tried to review a list of different things for our church that needs to be done. Then I will notice something there that needs my attention, and I will make a plan and set a time and date on when I need to execute something. All right, so it's Monday morning, and I normally start my morning with prayer before anybody wakes up, especially my kids. And I have found that to be my lifeline. For me, it's essential that I spend time every day with the Lord so that I can commune with Him and enjoy Him. It's so easy for me to forget that we are planting a church to invite people into an experience, our experience of Jesus and His love, power, and hope in our lives. It's also important for me because church planting is a miracle. It's literally for me every day going to the Lord and asking Him to miraculously provide something, whether that's energy for the day, focus, wholeheartedness, whether it's to provide a venue, wisdom for what's next. It's the Lord providing again and again and again. And so I have to start my day with prayer. Tuesday, I am with my son Liam. My daughter's in school, and Jyoti works during the day. But it's the day for our church to have our food pantry to the neighborhood. This is Shaheen Marjan. She is our community care director for our food pantry. We have partnered with Love Kitchen to feed the food insecure families in the neighborhood. She's such a gift. Shaheen, would you want to say something?
Hi everyone, my name is Shaheen, and we are working with the volunteer and serve people in Harlem. We have a big group of the community here, and we started with 50 people, but we are going above hundreds, and we are hoping that we will be able to serve 300 family every week here.
Shaheen is such a gift to our church. Her desire is not just to manage a pantry. She has such a heart for the community, getting to know people in the neighborhood and being a family to those who struggle to feel like they have a family here in New York, and we're just so grateful for Shaheen. So it's Wednesday, about 5:30 in the morning, and I'm going to an apartment where we record the sermon and some of the music whenever we're able to. This is it. It's the apartment where we record. Got some minimal light setup. That's where the camera goes, and that's the brick wall that our church sees every Sunday. So I'm about to preach right now, and here's the win for me. I want this to feel worshipful for me personally. I want to be able to preach from the heart. I want to preach with a sense of God's nearness and His love for me. And I want to preach with a focus upon people and not just the notes that are right in front of me. It's more challenging to do when no one's in the room. When it becomes really difficult is when I have this preoccupation with the order of my words and my outline, and it's no longer about God and the people that hear the sermon, but I hope that God will be glorified in this. So now that the sermon is done, between now and around 10 o'clock today, I'm going to do things that continue to spark creativity. That could happen in the form of reading books. It could happen in the form of writing. If I have an idea, I want to make sure that I write. If I read, I want to do what Cal Newport says in Deep Work, that when we read for work, we want to make sure we're reading something, or I'm reading something that requires specialization. So I'm not reading the Twilight Saga until 10, right? Just anything that anyone can pick up. I want to read something that's going to help me as a pastor, something that's going to help my leadership, help me to be innovative and creative, or maybe something that pertains to a sermon that I'm planning, right? I want to do something that is going to be important, requires some degree of specialization for what I do. Or I might actually spend that time in prayer. Ask the Lord to speak to me. Pray for specific people. I want to use my mind and be able to engage it in a way that sparks creativity. Then from 10 to 2, I've got meetings scheduled back to back. And then from 2 to 4, I normally reserve that for networking, connecting with other pastors and the organizations that I'm a part of, like Stadia or Acts 29 or Confluence churches. Usually I have other meetings with pastors in the city, or just a way of networking with others. If I don't have those meetings scheduled, I'll use that opportunity to clear my inbox or do another organizational audit. Now, when I'm done with that, I want to try as best as I can, with the help of the Holy Spirit, to unplug from what I'm doing. And I don't always do a good job of that. I want to be present with my kids. I want to be present with my wife. I want to make sure that as she goes to work now, that she is going into work energized, and I help her in that regard as well. And then once the kids have dinner and baths and are put to bed, at 8:30 tonight, we have prayer. One of our values as a church is that we depend upon God as a way of life. And so we live out this value in being a people of prayer. And so that's from 8:30 to 9:15, and then usually by that time I'm ready to just head to bed and start all over again the next day. Thursdays and Fridays are generally the same. I block off the morning 4 hours for creativity. It's when I'll write. It's when I'll spend time preparing a sermon or trying to strategize for our church. It's the most creative time of my day. And then the second half of my day would be spent in meetings, connecting with others, networking, and oftentimes connecting with people who don't know Christ, people who share a different faith than I do. So I'll meet with students from other countries, or we'll take someone that we're walking with through Alpha, or right now we're reading through the Gospel of John. We do that on Thursday evenings. That's one of the things that I think I need to continue to prioritize, because if I don't do it, if I don't continue to look outward and try to meet people who don't share my faith and try to have spiritual conversations with them, I know that no one else in our church is going to do that either. I can only lead them as far as I am standing. So it's something that I want to continue to celebrate and point our community towards. It's something that I want to continue to model in front of them. Saturday is my Sabbath. It's when I unplug, and I want to make sure that I'm spending the day with our family. And it's a day that I also I trust the Lord in His sovereignty for whatever is left undone. So that's a typical week for me. But there's always the unpredictability factor, something that needs our attention. For example, in the month of May, my number one priority is to find our church a permanent location. And so that's something that I'm going to continue to do. It's something that our church is praying for. I also need to hire a director of ministries. I think I'm the bottleneck right now to our church. I need to begin to give more ministry away and delegate more, to give it to people who are more competent in those areas than I am, who are more gifted and skilled than I am. So that's something we need to do as well. And then there's just whatever else may come up, pastoral issues, right? I mean, so this is some of the more organizational stuff, but the work that we do, or the work that I do, is to shepherd people through the various challenges that they face and help them locate where Jesus is and what Jesus is saying in the midst of that. And in all of these things, God is faithful to provide. Church planting is a miracle, and it's a miracle that we experience every single week.